Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you so much, first of all, for coming out such late notice. We changed the class. Sorry, I just want to mute something. We changed tonight's class to start much later than normal. And the reality is, as I'm going through my day today, and usually what I do is when it comes to my shiur, I usually prepare all Tuesday for the class. Like I'm literally just immersed in this all day. But in the Yetzer Hara's good way of doing it, I was flooded with a lot of other things going on in my life that did not give me an opportunity really to have everything ready on time. So I was actually about to cancel the class. And then in the spirit of tonight's class, I said, I can't do it. And whatever happens tonight happens. And Baruch Hashem, what you see here today is just a lot of sweat, tears, and a lot of just siyata d'shmaya. And I hope you can walk away with some incredible gems in tonight's class. So thank you guys for coming out. And again, sorry for the different things that are going on. And I can't control these things. I just work here. Not really, you know what I mean? That being said, B'ezrat Hashem, announcement is that March 26th, we will be doing a meditation for men and women in the House of More. For those that don't know where the House of More is, it's located all the way in Southwest Ranches. Really cool place and a good vibe. And we're going to be doing it in a really awesome outside. What's it called again? Maloka. Thank you. The one from last time. No. That was like different. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing it there March 26th. When the link comes out, definitely register because I think they only have about 35 spots. So, and it's free. So take advantage of that. It's gonna be awesome. And with that being said, let's hit the ground running. You good with Lior? Yeah, I'm set up good. Okay, awesome. We're just gonna, yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I have it here also. Oh yeah. One more thing. If I didn't even give you a class today, just the fact alone, I had to bring the books because I have so many of these books. I just want to say, regarding tonight's books, there's an organization that started from a good friend of ours, Moshe Baruch, and I was supposed to also print out a whole page. If you want to donate to that, he's just literally just pounding out, giving out books left and right, brand new, amazing, not like whatever, amazing books. If you want to help support that and spreading these books out to as many people, it's just another way of kiruv and helping people connect to Hashem. I don't have the link. If you're in my BreslovLight group, I'm gonna send the link for that. If you want to donate for that, it's an amazing cause. As you can see, you're walking away with so many amazing books. So I hope you guys enjoy them. Tonight's class is dedicated from Anonymous in the merit of Klal Yisrael receiving bracha, hatzlacha, and the light of the Ein Sof. Hashem should bless the Anonymous team with so much hatzlacha and everything they do, both in ruchnias and gashmias. And B'ezrat Hashem, they should be able to help Mashiach spread the Torah throughout the whole world. That's a good one. Anonymous in honor of Zohar Etana Bas Chena Miriam. And tonight's class is also in memory of Ishai ben Miriam, Zichrono Lebracha, may his neshama have an aliyah, a young man who passed away this week, local from Hollywood. Yeah, Zat Hashem, all the Torah that we learned today, Zat Hashem should give him a massive aliyah in Shemaim. Who's new to this class? Raise your hand if you're new to the class. Great. Oh man, here we go. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we are now in class 15 of something called The Lost Princess, which is Rabbi Nachman's one of the most favorite stories. He wrote many stories. And as we've learned before, it's the deepest of the deepest. It's got the highest level of Torahs in it. It's a fairy tale story, but it is incredible takeaways and things you can learn from it. So One more thing again, for those that are new, what is the Lost Princess? The Lost Princess is this idea of finding the joy, the happiness, the excitement for Judaism, for Hashem, for the Torah, for davening. It's everything that's on the inside of a person, not the exterior, not the outside. Now, what people like to say when it comes to like, oh, look at my Torah learning, or oh, look at my black hat, or look at my everything of the exterior. It's nothing to do with that. It's more about what's on your inside, what's in your heart, what are your intentions, what are your kavanah. And as we learned, Hashem loves the lost princess. Because that is to Hashem the most important thing, because Hashem wants your heart. That is the most important thing. So with that being said, last week, you guys have it in front of you as well. And for those that are here on Zoom, Eliora will be sharing with you right now shortly. Sit tight. So let's talk about last week quickly. We know that the viceroy is the character that represents the tzaddik inside of the person. It's the one that always wants to do right. It's the one that always is looking to do the good. That's the tzaddik within the person. And the tzaddik had, as we've learned throughout all these 15 classes, the tzaddik has gone through this incredible journey and he's learning so many things. He does the ups and the downs of going through this process to find this lost princess, to find the excitement. And at the end, we know what happened last week, that basically he woke up after getting drunk on wine, and he wakes up and then the princess sees him on the floor. He has not woken up yet. Actually, she gives him a scarf. The scarf is known as all the hidden secrets of the Torah, as we learned a couple weeks ago. The viceroy takes the scarf, puts it up to the sun. We learned that the sun represents the tzaddik. You need a tzaddik figure to really show you all the insides of emunah and faith and connection. We learned about what the tzaddik represents, why he's so important in a person's life. And at the end, because this invisible writing was on the scarf, he had to put it up to the sun, which is the tzaddik, and there's invisible writing, shows him what's the next instructions, because now he has to find the lost princess. She's not anymore in this evil castle. She's been now, as she said, she was taken to a place of a mountain of gold and a palace of pearls, and that's where you're going to find the lost princess. Good? For the new people in the past, like the new people in the class, like, what is going on? Okay, so let's talk about this week's class. So fine. So now the first thing that happens is this viceroy gets up and he says he's excited now. He's like, he left his servant behind. So if you guys recall, on the original part of the journey, he took a horse with him, he took his servant with him, and he took with him money in order to find this lost princess. So the servant was hanging out with him this whole time, and now he's like, I'm going now without the servant, and he leaves him behind. And he went to go search for the lost princess alone. The story says his search for her lasted many years. Eventually, he came to the realization that this mountain of gold and palace of pearls, which we spoke about, represented many ideas, but one of the main ideas was that in this process that we are getting closer to Hashem, under this mountain of gold is just dust and dirt. And we have to know that the process of getting close to Hashem, it's not a pretty one, especially for Baal Tshuvas, for sure, right? And we have our ups and our downs and the sins and all the specific things that happens as we try to get through this whole process. But as we learn that really in that process of that mountain of gold that we spoke about, that in that process of from the beginning to the end, as you're going to look back in your life, you realize the whole mountain was gold, all that dust, all that dirt. That's what the mountain of gold represented. And same thing with the palace of pearls, the same idea. It says, he came to the realization that this mountain of gold and palace of pearls certainly does not exist in the settled parts of the world, for he was an expert in all the maps of the world, this viceroy was. So he says, I will go to the deserts. And he went to search for her in the desert for many years. And after this, he saw a tremendous person, aka a giant, who didn't seem to be human at all because of his enormous size. He carried a huge tree, sorry, the word twice, carried a huge tree. No tree settled in the world was as large as this tree. So this giant was carrying this tree on him. And the giant asked him, who are you? He responded, "I am a human." The giant was astounded, he was shocked, and he said, "It has been so long since I've been in this desert before." So again, co-host. Okay, that's the story. We're done for tonight, guys. Okay. Good? Yeah? No? Okay. Try to make you co-host. No? You're the co-host now. You're good. Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's get to work. Let's try to dissect. There's a lot of interesting ideas that I want to discuss. Okay. So first of all, he left his servant behind and he went to go search for her alone, right? What's going on here? So let's try to do, I did try to do a little bit of a mini kind of recap on a lot of things that we've already learned about in regards to the past couple of the classes, right? Let's go through them because the servant really represents the intellect, right? The servant's been with him through most of this process, right? So take a look. Things he's learned along the path, right? A temporary pause or a decline spiritually can sometimes signify entry into a new phase of spiritual growth. Anybody been in those positions before? Decline spiritually or just lull, or just like, is because you're about to go to another higher level spiritually. That's one thing. Number two, failures are a necessary part of the growth process. We learned. These are all things that we're reviewing on. Number three, personal prayer is the key to spiritual success. You need to dive into Hashem to constantly grow. It's not just going to be based upon my own. You need Hashem to help you. Number four, big one, you're intrinsically valuable. You need to want it. You need to want to have that growth to get close to Hashem. Number five, this idea that freedom of choice is at the core of human stability. What that means so many technical difficulties, and I know this is so awesome because Hashem loves this right now. I'm not even wearing a jacket or a suit. Like I just showed up here. Okay. And then we also learn, right? Having a person who's done teshuva, right, for his sins, and you take the lessons that you've learned, you learn from your mistakes. The point of it is to grow from it so that you can get better on later on in the future, right? We always have to learn from our mistakes. It's been a long process for this viceroy. Okay. He's gone through so many things. How many things? 14 classes worth, 14 hours worth of stuff we've spoken about. How many of this adventure of this viceroy? But now he's leaving his servant behind. All this stuff that he dealt with, all this stuff dealing with the intellect, a lot of this stuff has been dealing with the servant who represents the intellect, right? And now the second part is he's going alone. So both of these two things are very important. Rabbi Nachman's talking about it. Number one, once a person gets to such a level, such a state where they've gone through all of these lessons, journey spiritually, they got close to Hashem, right? I like to say, it's like, now I know who I am. Like after all this ups and downs, the falls, the sins, the struggles, like I know who I am. I have an identity as so like what makes me. That identity now finally gets to a level now where now we're taking away the intellect, servant. We're saying goodbye servant, goodbye intellect. We're just moving forward now on emunah and faith. Our relationship with Hashem now is going to a different level now. And I know many people that even I would say in the last month alone, we're experiencing this from many different levels, on different levels, different people, experiencing new levels of emunah and faith, a connection to Hashem. As we learn also, emunah means, as according to the Baal Shem Tov, means dvekus. That means having higher levels of concept of spirituality and connection. So he doesn't need, I don't need the intellect anymore. I don't need more proven philosophy. I don't need any of this world. I'm ready to go with emunah. So he goes, and he goes by himself. Now, if you look at the word of Rabbi Nachman says, right, he goes and he walks for many years, and he says, specifically, Rabbi Nachman says, Umeyashiv atzmo, he settled himself. So settling himself, aka settling his, it also means the famous advice of Hidbodidut, that even through all of these stuff he's going through, which we spoke about even in a different class, the importance of Hibodedut in your constant, everyday reigniting to Hashem. Where am I doing with my life? Right? And as we know, the idea of he settled himself. Settling your mind is a big, big avoda in regards to your service to Hashem. That's why Hibodedut is so important. Coupled So what he did is through Hibodedut and personal reflection and understanding, hey, what's working for me? What's not working for me? Is this path of Torah that I'm learning right now is working for me or not? If it's not, what direction do I need to go to amp up my spiritual game? Whose class do I need to go to? Which book of millions here do I need to read? What's it going to inspire me to get to the next step? So this is what the idea was Rabbi Nachman saying. The next part is, because he's doing Hidbodedut, because he's speaking to Hashem, because he's trying to understand everything about his life and where he's holding, right? It says he realized that this mountain of gold and the palace of pearls does not exist in the settled parts of the world. That's what it says in the story. This place does not exist in the settled parts of the world. Why? Because he was an expert in all of the maps of the world. What is this talking about? And this is going to go back to this idea we spoke about Bechira and Yediyah, this idea regarding, this is a very hard concept to sometimes explain it. And to try to do my best to explain, I'm going to have the notes here in front of me, but it still doesn't like squeeze out what I want to say. When you understand the ways of Shemayim, when you understand that really you think you have free choice. We said that we have free choice, and then we also have this idea that really potentially Hashem set you up. You think that your free choice that you have is the methodology to receive higher levels of Shemayim and Olam Haba. And God, so to speak, puts this mask for you in this world to believe that you have this free choice. But in reality, as you went through life and experiences the ups and downs, and again, we are thinking we're in a free will choice world, and you have this ups and downs and you're going through life, it's interesting how sometimes after you go through this whole challenge or you go through this whole big, I would say session or time of your life, it's only sometimes God gives you the right, gives you like the insights to look back on it and you're like, oh, now I understand why I had to go through that. I had to understand now why I had to experience what I had to experience. The viceroy says that this mountain of gold and the palace of pearls does not exist in settled parts of the world. You know why? Because this idea of serving Hashem, finding the lost princess, it's something that's really not conceptually something that we can really understand in this world. He was an expert of the map of the world. The viceroy represents the tzaddik. It's like, in order for me to move forward in life, I'm going to go from point A to point B. I'm just going to go straight. And the reality is that when it comes to spirituality and serving Hashem, it's not from point A to point B. We're going straight in life and we're just going to get there. It's going to be like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. It's like a roller coaster, right? And you have to know that. That makes sense, kind of what I'm saying? It's a hard concept because people are like, what do you mean I have free choice? And the answer is, you do have free choice. You have it in the sense that God sets you up to believe that you have free choice. And in a sense, it's even if when you, whatever decision you make, you have that free choice in the sense that you're making it. But really, really, really almost like God sets you up so that you may do X or Z. To look back at the end of your life and go, oh, so that's why I had to go like this, like this, like this. Why? For the betterment of your neshama, to go through the rectifications and the tikkunim that a person has to go through in this world. And if God would have done it any other way, it would not have been the best way for your soul. Kind of hard to explain that, but that's what it means when he says it didn't exist in settled parts of the world. So then what does he do? It says, I will go to the desert. And he went to search for her in the desert for many years. Let's go into what the desert is all about. The desert, first of all, we know, is a place that there's really no life. There's no real plant life. It's not like going to be lush forest plants. It's the desert. It's known to be. And in the desert, he runs into this really large person, this giant, in the desert. It says he saw a tremendously large person who didn't seem to be human at all because of his enormous size. That's what it says. So now we're going to have a little bit of fun because we're going to go a little bit off topic, but really to stay in topic. In Breslov, the Mashpiyim talk about this giant. And what does the giant represent? He's running into this giant in the desert. So the main, there's two of them. Today we're going to talk about the one for this week, one of the interpretations. And that's this idea that the giant really represents a tzaddik, the tzaddikim. Okay? So he sees this giant, right? And it's interesting because this giant, which represents a tzaddik, we're going to learn that this tzaddik figure represents this concept of Mashiach. Now, we know that there's two different Mashiachs, right? And this is what we're going to talk about a lot tonight's class. There's Mashiach ben David, which we're all yearning for and waiting for. And there's an idea of Mashiach ben Yosef, who arguably can say he's already come. Someone still say he's still not here. Argument. Okay? So let's understand a little bit what they represent, right? And how does that relate to us in our journey? So the Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben David is represented by, we know it comes from the line of David HaMelech, right? Now, if you think about David HaMelech, right? He was a person who I like to look at as the figure of the lost princess. He is the representation of the Sphira of Malchut. Malchut meaning and being the lost princess. This idea of representing So many different concepts of the heart that Hashem loves. Hashem loves, it falls under the song. It represents the emotions, Tehillim, right? Waking up in the middle of the night, right? Holiness, Kedusha, but with your heart, with your crying, with your tears, Malchut. It's the place that receives, it represents the moon. The Jewish people represent the moon. David HaMelech also was somebody who he failed. He sinned. He's David HaMelech, but he sinned. Right? We know the famous story with Bathsheba, which we're going to discuss. Right? So David HaMelech, the Mashiach, the line is coming from imperfection. Then you have Yosef, the Mashiach ben Yosef. Yosef represents the tzaddik. Yosef is the tzaddik. Yosef represents the sphere of Yisod. If anybody knows about the actual concept of the Sfirot, right? Malchut is on the bottom, and right above Malchut is Yisod. It's the filter, it's the one that sends down all the Shefa, all the bounty to Malchut, which is also the world that we're living in. So we have this Yosef figure, right? And we see also that he was tested. He was tested with Potiphar's wife. You know the story of Potiphar's wife. Everybody know the story? I don't have to repeat it. We're good on this? Yes? Okay. Potiphar's wife, except he didn't fail. He did not fail with Potiphar's wife. He was able to run away from Potiphar's wife, and he succeeded in that test. So Mashiach ben Yosef is a figure that deals with perfection, the tzaddik, and David HaMelech also represents incredible things, but he also has failed. Okay. Look at the story, it continues, and it says, he carried a huge tree. This giant had a huge tree. No tree in the settled world was as large as this tree. So we learned, as the BreslovLight bring down, that the tree represents the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, the Torah. And the tzaddik had this massive amount, right? They carry incredible amount of Torah with them. They're the Torah generation leaders, right? That's what a tzaddik represents. And it says, and it continues, and it says, who didn't seem to be human at all, this giant. And what do we learn from that? That you're right, a tzaddik is not human at all. They're like angels. They're mamish like angels, right? What is an angel? An angel is something that goes above physicality. It's not something, they're out of this world pretty much all day long. And sometimes they come and they have some conversations and they hang out and they do cool stuff, right? That's what a tzaddik is. And they help people and they're bringing close to Hashem, right? So that's where so this tzaddik giant with the big tree, the Torah Etz Chaim, he's hanging out in the desert. Desert represents humility. You know, the Torah was received in the desert, right? In Mount Sinai. So now, with that being said, we were speaking about before about kavod of Hashem. I think this was in the last class. We spoke about how amazing it is to give Hashem honor. The greatest way we learned about to give Hashem honor is through somebody from my class. Somebody tell me, what is the greatest way to bring Hashem honor? Correct. Kiruv. Bringing people close to God is the highest level. Bringing honor to Hashem. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. So we see that there's different type of Jews. There's the Jews that are, so to speak, under this David HaMelech concept, and there's these Jews that are also like tzaddikim. They both give God a lot of glory and kavod, both of them, the Yosef people and the David people. So we see now, what's interesting about that is understanding their avoda, because this is really, really amazing. Now we're going to break it down. Take a look at this. Masechet Sota in the Gemara. Let's learn some Talmud together. It says as follows. Vayaker Yehuda vayomer tzad kamimeni. It's a very famous pasuk that when Judah finds out that he actually had relations with Tamar, which was his daughter-in-law, because he thought that she was a harlot, but she actually dressed herself up because she deserved to have another child through the family heritage, but he did not want his children his last children to marry her, but she set herself because she felt that was the right thing to do. At the end of everything, he said, kill her. And then at the end of the day, he gets back his signet ring that was from her. He figured out, oh my God, it was her the whole time I had it. And guess what happened? I made a mistake. Look what the Gemara says. And Judah acknowledged. And he said, she is more righteous than me. The wording is tzidka mimeni. She's more righteous than me. For as much as I gave her not to Shelah, my son. He didn't give it to Shelah. Okay, he acknowledged his mistake. Yehuda did that. Remember, we're talking about the Davidic line of Mashiach. This is the same as Rav Chaim Bar Bizna said, that Rabbi Shimon Chasida said, Joseph, who sanctified the name of heaven in private by not committing adultery with the wife of Potiphar, he merited that one letter from the name of the Holy One, blessed be He, was added to his name, as it's written. He appointed it in Joseph, and the wording in the pasuk is this in Tehillim, Be Hosef, for a testimony in his name. This is the name. They added the letter Hey to Yosef's name. See, it says Edut Be Yosef with a Hey. So we see that Yosef gets the letter Hey because he honored Hashem privately. Nobody knew that he ran away from Potiphar. Good. That's a private honor to Hashem. Hashem acknowledges it. You get a Hey, Yosef. Now, Yehuda, on the other hand, right, when he acknowledges his mistake, the union that he did with Tamar, he says, Tzadka mimeni, right? She is more righteous than me. He accepts the responsibility of his action and what he did. And what happens when you do that? First of all, he did that publicly in front of a lot of people. Everybody knew, right? So there definitely has to also be some sort of embarrassment and shame in that. And at the same time, by him actually doing the teshuvah, which is what he did, it says in the Gemara, they gave him 4 letters of Hashem's name. If you look at the name Yehuda, it's Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. Sounds familiar? Right? We're not meditating tonight, guys, but just thought that was funny. But the name Yehuda has 4 letters of Hashem name when you do it in public. Let's go deeper. Rachel and Leah. Who was Rachel? Rachel was the mother of Yosef. Leah was the mother of Yehuda. Yeah? In the Kabbalah, it says specifically in regards to how they term them. Rachel is called Alma Disgalia, right? It says she had beautiful appearance, and the Kabbalah calls her the known, understandable working of creation. In the fact that she had a beautiful appearance, she's the known, understandable working of creation. And Leah is called Alma Discasia. As the wording, as it's in Kabbalah, a somber woman with unpleasant appearance. I put that in quotation marks because that's not necessarily how she was portrayed at 100%. But Kabbalah calls her Iskasia, the hidden, incomprehensible work of creation. She is the hidden. Leah is hidden. Rachel is revealed. So what does that mean? And this is very important because we're going to bring it back to a lot of these concepts. And we're going to see how we're going to have a really strong connection at the end of the day to David HaMelech and the line of Mashiach. This is really deep. Yosef is the tzaddik. He comes from Rachel. Rachel is this idea that everything is revealed. It's a straight through pattern. You want to get close to Hashem? Be a tzaddik. You're born a tzaddik. Everything comes easy. Point A to point B. Tzaddik. Flow through. It's not complicated. Hashem has brought me to these already high levels since I was a young kid, ingrained in me from my youth. And look at me now. I'm a tzaddik, right? Represents Rachel. It's not hidden. It's straight through. It's revealed. This is the plan. This is a tzaddik, right? And on the other hand, Leah, what is Leah? Leah represents hidden. Yeah? That's the path of Yehuda, right? why does our journey of life have to be like this? The ups and the downs and the challenges and this way and that way and it's all. And then you look at the path of Mashiach. It goes through like, right? We talk about the way that Mashiach comes down through Lot and his daughters, and it goes through Ruth, the convert, and then it keeps going down and then on and on and on until eventually you have David HaMelech, who was like, you're that guy. He can't be the guy. And he was the guy, right? It's a whole like weird hidden, like how does it get there? So we see something really amazing based on that. You see how there's these two different paths, two different ways of how the service of Hashem, and it's all really embedded in already going back to the mother beforehand, how Yosef was, how Yehuda was, right? What's amazing about Yehuda, going back to this idea of this idea that we can look back once we look at our whole life, and you see how it really was all supposed to be that way, is that look at the name Yehuda. Yehuda had given 4 letters, but Yehuda's name never changed. His name was always Yehuda. Think about what I'm just said. I'm going to repeat that again. Yehuda's name was always Yehuda. It's not like, well, God gave him 4 letters. No, he was born with the name Yehuda. Yosef, you gave him a hey. Yehuda's always been this way, right? Do you understand the deepness of what I'm about to say with that?
What do you mean, Yosef, you gave him a hey?
In the Pasuk in Tehillim, in the Gemara, as we learned before, it says that they gave Yosef a hey for the private action that he did of not enticing with the luring of Potiphar's wife. So he got credit, a big credit for that. He said, we're going to give you the letter hey because you gave Hashem a lot of honor in private. Nobody knew. Yehuda was backwards. Everybody knew his mistake. He confessed it. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Right? Yehuda actually comes from the name to confess, Hod, right? So take a look at this. This is amazing. Masechet Sotah continues. Yehuda says, Tzadka mimeni, she is more righteous than I. Right? I can't believe she is a tzaddikus for what she had to do. Right? The word mimeni, right, can also be understood from me. She's more righteous than me. Right? Look at this. He's there saying, I'm the father of, right now, the fact that she's pregnant, I'm the one at fault, right? Look what the Gemara continues and says right after that. Right after he says, I, the one who confessed, the Gemara says, a divine voice, a bat kol, went forth and said, Mimeni yatsu kivushim. The bat kol, you know what a bat kol is? A heavenly voice that comes from above, aka from Hashem. From me, these hidden matters came from. Yehuda, you should know that this whole path that you went on is really slippery slope, kind of weird path that you're doing it. You should know, me, many. Hashem's like telling Yehuda, it came from me, buddy. That's deep. It's really deep. And that goes back to that same concept that we don't know why we're put in this world and why everybody's giving a different type of story, right? But you have to know that at the end of the day, all of the obstacles that we're going through, challenges, life stories, setbacks, good things, bad things, whatever, that whole world, it's all part of a process in our tikkun rectification. Hashem has already planned it in advance. And we have to know that we have to go through the motions believing that we have this free choice. He's going to set you up to believe that. It's part of the process. Otherwise, it wouldn't work, right? He has to give you that illusion, which is fine. But you really, once you mature and you go back and you realize, wow, this was all a process. Look at like Yehuda, for example. Look at the sins that he did. Or David HaMelech, for example. Same idea, right? It was all part of the plan. Take a look at this. And I put a nice underline for you guys to take this home. The deepest truth is that this was all part of Hashem's plan. Everything. What happened with David HaMelech is the same example. When David HaMelech sins with Bathsheba, okay? Everybody know the story of that? Do I have to tell everybody? Everybody's good? Bathsheba, yes? When that happened, it's in the Gemara, it's kind of like all over the place. You know what Rashi says? Gezeras HaMelech. Rashi was like the most literal, greatest interpreter of the Torah. He says, David made that sin with Bathsheba. This was Hashem's plan. Rashi. Right? Why? It says to bring the ultimate kavod to Shemayim. Amazing. And we see again, Yehuda's name never changed. Why? Because it was predetermined. Teshuvah was built in to Yehuda from the day he was born. David HaMelech, Teshuvah was born on the day he was born. Mashiach comes from that line. Mashiach comes from the Malchut. Malchut represents the lost princess. It's a realization of understanding. This is where I'm holding right now in my journey and understanding like what's happening in the big scheme in the spiritual worlds. Good so far? Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
Does that mean that Yosef's hay that was added was because he went against free choice? Meaning that, sorry, went against Hashem's plan? He
I
chose
think
the right
I think it was just an easy path for him. Meaning it wasn't, I know we're gonna go get technical. Yosef was a tzaddik. The decision wasn't so complicated.
Well, he had his father, the dream of the,
Yes.
the vision of his father that obviously he needed, otherwise it wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
But if you're saying that Yehuda's name was predetermined from the beginning, so he doesn't get
The same
It's just-
schar, the same reward, the
because
same
he was born that Hashem said this is his plan. He's good in the kingdom.
A to B.
Correct. Yosef A to B, but Yosef changed it, so we gave him a hay. He chose a better path, so we gave him a hay.
But Yehuda could have messed it up though.
He could have messed it up. But again, there were some mess ups.
Correct.
There were already mess ups in that whole process.
That's why he's following Hashem's plan. But did Yosef not follow the plan? And that's why he was given a hay? To say, hey, you chose the right door?
I think
by free will?
I think the representation of the haze is the very simple thing that he didn't his free his how do I explain it? He's embedded as born as that's what he's sowed. He is the tzaddik figure. He's able to fight the ultimate temptation of the lure of this woman trying to get him. Okay. But really, he was very, even though they said it was difficult, I think, based upon different, he is as a tzaddik figure, he represents this idea that at the end of the day, it wasn't as difficult, as complicated as the setup of something of like a Yehuda. It's a different test because maybe in him, it's a much more easier test to pass with not such a slippery slope in that.
Maybe it's the same test, and because Yosef didn't fail, they have to get a hay.
Say it again.
It's the same test as Yehuda, but Yosef didn't fail the test. He didn't fall,
Right, he didn't fall.
so he got a hay for it.
You got to hate for it.
Yehuda didn't get anything. It's predetermined already.
But the Gemara says he got 4 letters.
From birth, it was predetermined.
Maybe. That good, UK? I like it. You're spinning it backwards.
Yeah.
Good. It's fine. I'll let you have that. It's good. Nice. Well, what? They were all tzaddikim. Yeah, I like that too. That's good. Beautiful. Good.
Yehuda, well, 2 children, right? Am I missing? Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Ona.
So when you said, God's name is in his name and this is my path for you, you mentioned like, that's what he wanted. His name is in, I can't repeat it as good as you said it. But God's name is in his name, like
Right.
I planned this for you kind of thing. But like, he went through a lot of pain. Like to lose 2 children was really painful, and it's hard to understand from at least my perspective, why God would want that for him, like when you see that, I'm like, oh, it hurts, So I'm just wondering, like, if you have some other perspective.
Well, a lot of tzaddikim go through a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Ironically, Rabbi Nachman also lost his kids. A couple of them too. And, why God does what he does, I don't want to go there,
Yeah.
but that's Hashem's, but yes, it's,
So basically what you're saying is that the free choice is between good and bad to choose, but it's really not a free choice. So whatever you're choosing, Hashem wanted that should happen. So Where's the struggle? Where's the free choice?
You're made to believe that you have the free choice. You're made to believe you have the free choice to do what you need to do. And there is, look, I've learned before from different works, okay, from different Hasidic works for sure. It's so deep. This is what Rabbi Nachman almost says. He says this before many times in Likutei Maharan. He's like, just don't go there. It's like, don't touch this subject because you'll go bonkers. That's what he said. He's very clear. He's like, you can try to figure out, you can go like this, we can have this conversation all day long. Like, don't. Because you're gonna be like, why don't why? Well, then what do I do? Then don't, then I'm just gonna do whatever I want. You know what he also says? That doesn't work. You need to live your life focused on doing good, mitzvot, connection to Hashem. You're still on the right path. You can't be like, you know what? I'm gonna party hard for the next 20 years and then I'll make a comeback in 20 years. You know what God says to that? You ain't gonna get credit for that because now you're off the rails completely. You have to still follow whatever the right path is and whatever Hashem has bestowed for you and what that's going to look like on a day-to-day level, right? It's a very, as I said, it's a very difficult subject. And that's why Rabbi Nachman says, just don't analyze it too much.
For tomorrow, then he wouldn't have had to go that direction.
Correct. But it didn't go that way. Fine. Now, you have to know that that viceroy, that person looking for the lost princess, he's excited, he's going to the desert, right? He's really like that Mashiach ben David figure guy. Okay? That Mashiach ben David figure guy is that Baal Tshuva guy. Okay? For many of us, I know there's some hidden tzaddikim here, but it's pretty much all of us. Okay? This has to be resonating with us tremendously. Okay? So the viceroy walks and he goes and he sees this giant in the desert. Who is the giant that we've said he represented? He is the tzaddik. He is the Mashiach ben Yosef. Okay? What does that look like familiar? Very famous parsha, Vayigash. Why? Vayigash elav Yehuda. And Yehuda approached Yosef. Yehuda is the viceroy. The giant is Yosef. Okay? So now, as the story continues, the giant says to Yosef, you know, who are you? Who are you? Right? The giant says to the viceroy,
Okay.
who are, like, he just sees some guy coming into the desert, like, who are you? Right? Which is really asking, like, what are you all about? Right? What is your identity? Like, so random because I've never seen a human here before. Right? So what does the viceroy respond? From the story, he says, I am a human. Okay? Shalah HaKadosh. Incredible tzaddik. In the Rabbi Nachman stories, he says, Ani Adam, which means I am a human. What does Adam mean? It has two different meanings. And this is so symbolic because it's amazing. And Adam, obviously, comes from the word Adama. Adama means ground, right? Also means physicality. I am physicality. I have physical desires, yeah? Adam also, the Shalah HaKadosh says, comes from the phrase Adame le'elyon, from the Pasuk of Yeshayahu, which means man's ability to walk in Hashem's lofty ways. Adame le'elyon, to the high, right? That I can walk in Hashem's ways. What is he saying? What is he saying? I am a human. This is what it's all about. Shalah HaKadosh is saying it to you. To experience to be a Jew in this world. You know, the Jew is coming from the word Yehuda. Yeah? He's Jew also, right? A Jew is Yehuda, right? The experience to be human is what it means to be a Jew. Because a person has this concept of the physical, the desires, going after all that's enticing. And at the same time, it's a battleground with like, I want to connect to Hashem and I want to do mitzvot and I want to do good things. And this is all day long. This is all day long. And this is really what really our life is like every single day, right? And he's telling him, I'm human. You don't even know, man. I just got to this desert and like I went through all the ups and the challenges and the ups and the downs, and I got here and I got there. And next year, I'm here in the desert. And the giant's like, what? Look what the giant's response. He was shocked. He sees this little puny little viceroy little guy, and he's showing up in the desert. And he's like, who are you and why are you here? Right? You have no big tree with all your Torah stuff and all your Torah accomplishments. You're not Mr. Tzaddik dude guy. Why are you in the desert? I've never seen this before. You know what the giant responds back after being shocked for a while, and he responds back to him and he says, it has been so long since I've been in this desert and I've never seen a human here. Shocked. Why? The desert represents a place of high spirituality, advanced level spirituality. Okay? It's a place that the tzaddikim can only survive in. How did this guy get here? He's questioning the whole thing. And, and you could see, and if you look at the story, and there's a lot of commentary on this, the whole funny part about the whole idea is this viceroy who went through all the ups and the downs, the challenges, the learning lessons, everything we spoke about, that he's gone through so much. And now he's on the right track to find the lost princess. And he ends up getting to the desert, to the place where the tzaddikim are. He has no idea. The viceroy has no idea where he's standing. He has no idea what he's already accomplished. Right? He doesn't consider himself to be anything special. Right? Remember, he's gone through a lot of stuff, a lot of sins, a lot of being in the mud, a lot. And he doesn't understand why the giant is shocked. Right? And the beautiful line is, because he doesn't understand the greatness of what he's already accomplished. That is just an incredible takeaway. The Baal Tshuva, right? We know I will say it again. The Baal Tshuva, the place where the Baal Tshuva stands, a tzaddik does not stand. That is so deep. You didn't suffer like I suffered. You didn't have to go through the challenges that I had to go through. And look where he is. He's in the desert, hanging out with the tzaddik. And the tzaddik's like, how did you get here? And he doesn't even know that he's there. Which is really like the life of a Baal Tshuva, because like we're trying and we're struggling with the ups and the downs and all that stuff that goes with it. And at the end of the day, you don't even realize how high of a level you really are in Hashem's eyes. You don't understand it. We think we're so hard on ourselves, or like we think, oh, we should be doing better with this and doing better with that. But we're trying, and we do, and we some days are better than other days, and some days we struggle, and like that's all part of the process. And at the end of the day, you have to know that all those ups and downs, all that effort, all that work is gone to, is not nothing. Your avoda of being a Baal Tshuva is higher than the tzaddik. Take a look at Sichot Aran, Rabbi Nachman. Many times the Rebbe said that no sophistication is needed in serving God. All that is required is simplicity, sincerity, and faith. The Rebbe said that this is so important. Simplicity. I'm just a Baal Tshuva. I'm here to serve Hashem. I'm trying the best that I can, okay? I'm going to work in serving Him with simplicity. I'm not going to overanalyze. I'm not going to overcomplicate things, okay? That is the highest possible thing, Rabbi Nachman says. God is certainly higher than all else, and God is ultimately simple, he says. Hashem is simple. He wants your heart. He wants your simplicity. And that is amazing. And that's such an incredible lesson. I think that we can all leave with tonight. And I hope like we resonate with David HaMelech. We come right now, okay? And I'm not being Chabad about it. I'm telling you, like, it's mamish. It's look around, okay? Like, open up your eyes. It's about to happen. You know, I read not long ago that Mashiach is going to be a big shock to the world when Mashiach comes, because he's going to be a Baal Tshuva guy, a guy that was not supposed to, is out of like left field. Like, that's Mashiach. I've read that already many times. Doesn't surprise me, right? But the cool thing about it is like, we're on Team Mashiach. We're all the same. The Baal Tshuvas are all the same. We're all trying. We have the ups and the downs. We try to do the best that we can. Hashem planned it from the beginning. Yeah? We should feel good about where we're holding. We have to always try to grow and do the best we can. But Hashem, as we go back again, Hashem loves you very much, and He put you in those positions for a reason, and it's all part of the tikkuning and rectifications that we have to go through and experience. And that's the beautiful part about it, that we don't even know the highest level that we're in right now. We're in the desert with the tzaddik, and we don't even have a clue where we're holding right now. Now you do. Spoiler alert. There it is. I had to say that word for the guys that are there. Come on, Josh, laugh. And that's why, go back to now the beginning of the class. I wasn't putting out this class today. I was about to literally, and we've done this a couple of times that Leora knows. There's many times, sometimes, where like it's overwhelming. And you know, life hits you, and I'm like, I can't give the class. And today was one of those days, and I'm like, there's no way I'm giving this class whatever you see here today. Like, there's no way. And I was about to hang up the towel, and then I said, okay, well, if I can just extend my class just a little bit longer, and I'll put out whatever I can put out. And that's exactly the whole lesson of today. That this is this. I'll keep it, put it somewhere nice, and like this is a lot of just trying. I'm just trying. Okay? Whatever happens, Hashem, I'm trying. Just make it work. Okay, so like the room, like it was really cool, like a week ago, like now it's a kiddie room. Like, you know, like the place couldn't even open. I couldn't open up an office. We can't print the stuff. The food can't get here. I can't. Look at this place. But we're here and we're learning, and Baruch Hashem, it worked out, right?
Yep.
Right? This is literally the representation of this whole class. Hashem loves this. And whoever tried and wherever you came from and you couldn't, or you tried last second, and Hashem loves this. And so I just want to thank all you guys for being here, for participating in this. And Hashem should bless all you all, that we should continue to be successful in being close to Hashem. You should have an incredible Purim.
Hey.
For those that don't know, Purim. Oh, there's a lot to say about Purim, but there's a lot to say about Purim. I just want to say one thing, that honestly, the biggest takeaway from Purim is, at the end of the day, that Achalo Yada, a person who drinks, if you need to drink, of course, drink. And if you don't need to drink, and you can achieve it also through different mechanisms of being able to get out of yourself. Okay, there's meditations, all this stuff, different stuff. Whatever it looks like, the point of the whole day is just let God go. Like, let God just take over and put yourself in the position that, not this like, I don't know. It's like this idea that God controls everything in your life. We're going back to this idea of choice. He is everything, and I'm just here to show up. And let that day signify the fact that the Hashem is the king of the world, and I have absolutely no control. No control. This is a very simple thing. It's super detailed, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But when I drink, if I drink and if I'm going to get wasted, there's a reasoning why he says you have to get wasted. It all deals with the fact that I have no control. It's all about Hashem. It's all Hashem. And all the other mitzvahs that go with that, it's fine. But this Purim is going to be a big Purim. I have a very strong feeling that a lot of incredible things are about to happen right now. Bezrat Hashem. So get ready. Between now and Pesach, I think it's going to be very interesting. Bezrat Hashem. And Bezrat Hashem, I'll see you guys next Tuesday night. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.